Ladies and gentlemen, a man with no friends or a very small circle is not to be pitied, he is to be studied. For in his silence there is wisdom, in his solitude there is power. While the world rushes to collect acquaintances, he chooses carefully, for he understands that not everyone is meant to walk with him. A man with no friends or a very small circle is not to be misunderstood as lonely. In fact, he is far from it. His solitude is not a curse, but a conscious choice, one born out of wisdom, self-awareness, and an unshakable sense of security. There is an inherent power in being selective about who one allows into their life. Many chase validation in the company of others, fearing the silence of their own thoughts. But the secure man does not seek refuge in the presence of people. He finds his strength in himself. The world often misinterprets solitude as isolation, as if the absence of a large social circle is some tragic fate, but in reality it is a form of strength. A man who stands alone is a man who is not swayed by the opinions of the masses, nor is he burdened by the need to please them. He walks his own path, undistracted by the noise of the world, undisturbed by the expectations of others. He does not fear solitude because he has mastered the art of self-reliance. Unlike those who constantly surround themselves with people to avoid facing their own insecurities, this man welcomes solitude. He understands that solitude is not an absence of connection, but a refinement of it. He chooses to engage with his thoughts, to reflect deeply, to build himself without the influence of external pressures. This is not loneliness, this is self-mastery. Consider the strength it takes to walk alone. It is easy to follow the crowd, to blend in, to always be in the company of others. But to stand apart, to exist without the crutch of constant companionship, requires a level of self-confidence that many do not possess. The man with a small circle is secure, because he does not need validation. He does not seek approval, nor does he compromise his values for acceptance. He has built an inner world so rich that he does not rely on the distractions of the outer world to fill a void. More than that, he is cautious. He does not let just anyone into his life because he understands that not all who enter are meant to stay. Trust is something earned, not given freely. He has no desire for shallow friendships built on convenience or social obligation. Instead, he values relationships that are genuine, meaningful, and built on mutual respect. If that means having only a handful of true connections, then so be it. This man is not antisocial. He is simply selective. He knows that solitude breeds strength, that silence holds wisdom, and that true power lies in self-sufficiency. He is not afraid to be alone, because he knows that in his solitude, he is his most powerful. Society has long conditioned people to believe that having a large social circle is a sign of success, that being surrounded by many friends is proof of one's worth. We see it everywhere. Social media glorifies the number of followers, likes, and interactions. People are often judged by how well connected they are, how many names they can drop in a conversation, or how many friends they appear to have. But in reality, these numbers mean nothing. The illusion of popularity is just that, an illusion. A man who understands this does not seek validation in numbers. He seeks something far greater: authenticity, loyalty, and inner security. True security does not come from external approval. It does not come from being the life of the party or having a long contact list. A man who is truly secure does not measure his worth by how many people call him a friend, but by the strength of the relationships he holds dear. He is not fooled by surface-level interactions. He knows that many who surround him today may not be there tomorrow. The same people who laugh with him in moments of joy may disappear in times of struggle. And so, rather than focusing on quantity, He values quality. There is a stark difference between being well-liked and being truly respected. Many strive to be liked by all, shaping themselves into whatever form is most acceptable to those around them. They agree with opinions they do not hold, attend gatherings they do not enjoy, and entertain conversations they find meaningless, all in the name of being included. But the secure man does not do this. He does not bend his character for the sake of fitting in. He does not trade his authenticity for the illusion of acceptance. He knows that true respect comes not from pleasing everyone, but from standing firm in who he is. When a man is secure in himself, he understands that not everyone is meant to walk beside him. He is not desperate for companionship because he knows that the wrong company is more dangerous than solitude. He does not cling to people out of fear of being alone. Instead, he embraces solitude as a sign of strength. He would rather walk alone than walk with those who do not truly support him. Society often fails to acknowledge the emptiness of superficial friendships, the gatherings, the constant interactions, the endless conversations. Many of them are nothing more than distractions. People fear loneliness so much that they surround themselves with anyone who fills the silence, even if those connections are hollow. But the secure man is different. He does not need to be constantly entertained, nor does he fear his own company. He understands that it is better to have a few genuine relationships than 100 meaningless ones. The illusion of popularity may be tempting, but it is fleeting. A man who chases it will find himself constantly seeking, never satisfied. But a man who understands the value of real connection is at peace, secure in his choices, his relationships, and most importantly, himself. In a world that thrives on noise, a man who understands the power of silence stands apart. Everywhere we look, people are caught in an endless cycle of talking, sharing, and seeking validation through words. Social media is filled with opinions, conversations, and debates that often carry no real meaning. People surround themselves with constant chatter, fearing that silence might expose their deepest insecurities. But the man who is truly secure has no such fear. He does not need to fill every moment with words. He is comfortable in the quiet, for he knows that silence is not emptiness. It is strength. A man who does not seek validation through the company of many is a man who has mastered himself. He does not chase attention, nor does he feel the need to be heard at all times. He listens more than he speaks, observes more than he reacts. While others waste energy proving themselves in conversation, he remains composed, only speaking when necessary. His words carry weight because they are not given away carelessly. He understands that there is far more wisdom in listening than in speaking without purpose. In a room full of people eager to be noticed, the quiet man is often the one who holds the most power. He does not seek approval through constant engagement, nor does he depend on external affirmation to feel important. His confidence is not loud, it does not demand attention, but it commands respect. There is a certain mystery to him, a depth that others cannot easily access, and in this quiet strength, he is untouchable. Most people surround themselves with noise because they fear facing their own thoughts. They need constant interaction, entertainment, and engagement to distract themselves from their inner struggles. But the secure man does not run from his thoughts. He embraces them. He understands that true growth comes not from external distractions, but from internal reflection. He is not afraid to be alone with his mind, because he knows that within that silence lies clarity, understanding, and self-mastery. This is why he does not waste time on meaningless conversations. He values his energy, choosing to invest it in things that truly matter. He does not entertain gossip, empty flattery, or superficial exchanges. He seeks depth in his interactions, and if he cannot find it, he is content with his own company. He does not speak just to be heard. He speaks when his words add value. In a society that confuses noise with significance, the man who values silence stands as a rare figure. He is not driven by the need to be constantly engaged, nor is he weakened by the absence of constant conversation. Instead, he finds peace in the quiet, power in the pause, and wisdom in the space between words. The world may chase distractions, but he remains steady, rooted in his own mind, unwavering in his security, and completely at peace with the silence that others fear. In a world obsessed with numbers, many believe that the more friends one has, the more valuable they must be. Society promotes the idea that being surrounded by many people is a sign of success, that having a large social circle equates to happiness, influence, and security. But this is a misconception. The reality is far different. True strength and security come not from the quantity of relationships, but from their quality. A man who understands this does not measure his life by how many people he knows, but by the depth of the connections he holds. 100 acquaintances may fill a room, but only a handful of true friends will stand by a man when he is at his lowest. It is easy to find company in good times, when laughter is abundant and success is present. But when hardship comes, when struggle, failure, or uncertainty appear, many of those who once stood close will vanish. A man who has experienced this firsthand learns a valuable lesson. It is not about having many friends. It is about having the right ones. True friendship is not about convenience. It is about loyalty. A secure man understands that most relationships in life are circumstantial, built on shared interests, workplaces, or temporary common ground. But genuine friendships, the ones that endure through time and adversity, are rare. That is why he does not waste his energy maintaining shallow relationships. He is not interested in social obligations or keeping up appearances. Instead, he focuses on those who have proven their loyalty, those who have stood by him through thick and thin. A man with a small circle values trust above all. He knows that trust is not given freely. It is earned through experience, through trials, through time. He does not allow just anyone into his life because he understands that people are not always what they seem. Some come with hidden agendas, some with temporary intentions, and some with silent envy disguised as friendship. He moves carefully, choosing only those who have shown their sincerity. This selective approach to relationships does not mean he is antisocial or unkind. On the contrary, he is deeply aware of the value of human connection. He simply refuses to dilute his energy with superficial interactions. He invests his time in those who matter, in relationships built on mutual respect, understanding, and genuine care. A secure man does not need a crowd to feel validated. He finds fulfillment in a few strong, meaningful bonds rather than a network of acquaintances who may disappear when they are no longer benefiting from the connection. In the end, life is not about collecting people. It is about choosing the right ones. A man who understands this walks with confidence, knowing that even if his circle is small, it is strong. He does not need to impress or entertain a large audience. He is content with the few who truly matter, and in that selectivity he finds a rare and unshakable sense of security. A man who is truly secure is not easily influenced by the world around him. He does not shape his thoughts, actions, or decisions based on what others expect of him. Instead, he operates from a deep understanding of himself, a level of self-mastery that makes him immune to manipulation, peer pressure, and the ever-changing opinions of society. This kind of man does not seek approval, nor does he feel the need to conform to fit into someone else's mold. He knows who he is, and that alone gives him a power that many will never possess. Most people, whether they realize it or not, are influenced by the world around them. They follow trends, adopt popular opinions, and change their behavior to align with social expectations. This is not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack the strength to stand alone. The desire to be accepted is deeply ingrained in human nature, and many will sacrifice their authenticity just to feel included. But the man who has mastered himself does not fall into this trap. He does not live for validation, because he does not need it. His sense of worth comes from within, not from the approval of others. This level of self-mastery is rare because it requires discipline. It means being able to think independently, to question what is presented as truth, and to resist the temptation of blindly following the crowd. It means knowing one's values, standing by them even when they are unpopular, and refusing to compromise one's principles for temporary acceptance. A secure man is not swayed by fleeting trends or external pressures. He moves with intention, making decisions that align with his own beliefs, rather than what is expected of him. One of the greatest strengths of a man who has achieved self-mastery is his emotional control. He does not react impulsively, nor does he allow his emotions to be dictated by external circumstances. He remains calm under pressure, unaffected by provocation, and unbothered by the opinions of those who do not matter. This composure makes him difficult to manipulate. Others may attempt to control him through guilt, fear, or flattery, but their efforts will be in vain. He sees through deception, and because he does not rely on external validation, he cannot be easily swayed. Furthermore, this man understands the power of focus. He does not waste time on meaningless distractions or relationships that do not add value to his life. He directs his energy towards self-improvement, personal growth, and the pursuit of his goals. He does not allow unnecessary drama, gossip, or superficial connections to drain him. He chooses his battles wisely, speaks only when necessary, and moves with precision. Ultimately, self-mastery is what makes a man truly secure. When a man knows himself, his strengths, his weaknesses, his purpose, he becomes unshakable. He no longer seeks acceptance, nor does he fear rejection. He is not controlled by the opinions of others, but by his own unwavering sense of identity, and in that, he finds true freedom. Time is the most valuable resource a man possesses, yet many squander it without thought. A secure man, one who understands his worth, does not waste his time chasing meaningless interactions or maintaining shallow relationships. He knows that time is not something to be carelessly spent on people who do not add value to his life. Instead, he guards it, using it wisely for his growth, his ambitions, and his purpose. A man with no friends or a very small circle does not find himself constantly distracted by social obligations. He is free to focus on what truly matters. Many people fall into the trap of believing that busyness equals productivity. They pack their schedules with social gatherings, endless conversations, and activities that do little to move them forward. They fear being alone because solitude forces them to confront their own thoughts. But a secure man does not share this fear. He embraces solitude because it allows him to invest in himself. Where others seek entertainment, he seeks knowledge. Where others chase distractions, he hones his skills. His time is spent wisely, building himself, rather than wasting it on relationships that do not serve him. This does not mean he rejects connection entirely. On the contrary, he values deep, meaningful relationships, but he is selective. He does not give his time freely to those who do not respect it. He does not engage in trivial conversations for the sake of fitting in. He does not feel obligated to attend every social gathering just to maintain appearances. He understands that every hour spent on something unimportant is an hour taken away from something that could bring him closer to his goals. There is immense power in knowing how to manage one's time. While others are distracted by the noise of the world, the secure man operates with focus and purpose. He uses his solitude to reflect, strategize, and plan his next moves. He does not live reactively, constantly adjusting to the demands of others. Instead, he lives intentionally, making deliberate choices about where and with whom he spends his time. This discipline allows him to achieve more, grow faster, and develop a level of mastery that few will ever reach. Moreover, because he is not desperate for company, he never lowers his standards just to avoid being alone. He does not engage in friendships that drain him, nor does he entertain people who bring negativity into his life. His small circle is a reflection of his priorities. Only those who truly support, challenge, and inspire him are given access to his world. This selectivity ensures that his energy is never wasted on relationships that do not uplift him. In the end, the difference between a man who is constantly drained and a man who thrives comes down to how he spends his time. The secure man understands that time is not something to be thrown away, it is a treasure. And because he guards it wisely, he moves through life with clarity, purpose, and an undeniable sense of power. A man who has no friends or keeps a very small circle is a man who has reached a rare level of self-sufficiency. He does not rely on the presence of others to feel complete, nor does he seek external validation to affirm his worth. He has built a solid foundation within himself, one that cannot be shaken by loneliness or the absence of constant companionship. In a world where many fear being alone, he embraces solitude with confidence. This is not because he rejects connection, but because he understands that true strength comes from within, not from the approval or presence of others. Many people equate solitude with weakness. They assume that a man who spends most of his time alone must be lonely or lacking something in his life, but in reality the opposite is often true. A man who is secure enough to stand alone is a man who has cultivated a strong mind, a deep sense of purpose, and an unwavering belief in himself. He does not need distractions to escape his thoughts, nor does he feel empty without constant interaction. Instead, he finds power in his solitude, using it to reflect, grow, and strengthen his character. One of the greatest advantages of self-sufficiency is freedom. A man who does not depend on others for his happiness is a man who cannot be controlled. He is not influenced by peer pressure, nor is he swayed by the opinions of the masses. He makes decisions based on his own principles, not on what others expect from him. He does not feel the need to conform to societal norms, nor does he compromise his values to fit in. He walks his own path, guided by his own convictions, and in doing so, he remains in complete control of his life. A self-sufficient man is also emotionally resilient. He does not break under pressure, nor does he crumble when faced with adversity. While others may seek comfort in external validation or emotional support from large groups, he finds strength within himself. He has developed the ability to process his emotions independently, to handle challenges with a clear mind, and to move forward without relying on others for reassurance. This inner strength makes him unshakable, allowing him to navigate life's difficulties with composure and confidence. Furthermore, his self-sufficiency extends beyond his emotional state. He is not dependent on others for entertainment, motivation, or direction. He knows how to keep himself engaged, how to push himself toward his goals, and how to stay disciplined without needing external encouragement. While others wait for someone to push them forward, he moves on his own. This level of independence ensures that he is always progressing, always improving, and never stagnant. Ultimately, a man who is self-sufficient is a man who is truly free. He is not bound by the need for social approval, nor is he limited by the expectations of others. He lives life on his own terms, secure in himself and content with his own company. And in that, he finds an unshakable peace that many will spend a lifetime searching for, but never attain.